Now here we have the driver's side inner apron and the fender well. Now, what I said before about being too wide, I meant it was actually too narrow. That's why there's a gap there for. Okay, see, if you had to go back and chop the fender piece out right and the shock tires out to extend it out a little longer and make it actually the appropriate and correct size, that what the real Charger shock tire is supposed to be of. Not a little narrow one like it was. So I do apologize for that inconfusion in the last clip. Now here is the lower arm piece to the front suspension piece being made. Yes, those little black dots is actually drilled up by a micro drill bit. Now I'll put this here. Doing this right here, this is, I'm gonna say, was like around maybe 8th try, 9th try of trying to get the appropriate size cut out. Because doing these is not like doing the 125th scale and 124th scale Chargers. Doing the 116th is a little more bigger size. And I'll put this here. When we cut these out, we took our time making these. Because one of the mess up with the drill bit and the whole bolt area is actually out of the picture. And we actually took, you see it there up in your right hand corner of your screen. It's actually, we drew the kit piece onto the plastic and we actually started drawing the piece that we needed out. Once we did this here, we actually made a template piece. Now, the grill is there to show you actually how small that little shackle piece is. Now, the rim is actually something that's going to be needed in the future here. Now, let me put this here. That little piece is actually going to be inside the rim area. Because that goes to the front suspension piece that is actually in the making right now. And as right here, as you can see, for the front suspension pieces, this here is the front frame rail. Now, as you know before, the front frame rail was like 2x4 square because it was a NASCAR kit. Well, this being a street version, the frame rail is not like what is in the kit. So all new frame rail pieces had to be scratch built. So we took the kit pieces and we modified them by using them as a jig piece for the angle right here. Now the thing is, the black pieces is actually pretty good plastic. But with the indents in them from the factory, it kind of makes them a little bit on the weak side, so we actually glued those joints shut. And to do that, we also increased the plastic size. Excuse me, there. We actually increased the plastic size by adding plastic on top of the blackness to actually make the height of the rail, which it should be. These here photographs right here, people, is never before seen photographs that PIP has taken, but we never post them to the media platforms. So this here is the first thing you're seeing these photographs. This here will show you what the decal should look like on the roof if it was done correctly. But again, we're not saying the kit decals are bad, but they're not properly sized for the roof. And here is the engine bay. Now, as you can see, from the other side, you can see where we're actually working on wanting it out where it should be. Again, these photographs are taken outside on a nice summer day, so we can get a good visual on how it's going to look. And the stars and the flag is actually little jewelry pieces that we actually have at our local dollar store. The stars came in handy for the right sizes. And as right there you see it as the window package piece in the area in the back of the Charger in the tunnel window, the glass trim area, the glass ledge. Now looking down the car, you can see how big the flag is. Now that is actually the appropriate size that should be in the kit. Again, not just in the details by no means. But the thing is, when we're working on this is actually liberal love right here. All these things that you've seen from the previous things is not like this. This is all hand done. And all the details you've seen here was all hand done by PIP. The frame rails, the front suspension piece, as you can see right there. Now, the front suspension piece in the front, now the two little black holes, we were actually using it as grippers right now. We're wiring them to actually to the floor pan so we can get a good connection. And once we get everything glued in place, we will remove the wires back out. But right now, as you can see, this actually looks like a real Charger panel and I start looking at it. All this white right here you're seeing, all those details was all done by PIP. It has taken a long time to get this far in this build right here. And again, the frame rails are done correctly, not no more big giant like lowrider frame rails, big notch in the frame rails. You can see right there, they actually look like Charger frame rails now. And all the little parts you see right there, all the other pieces are all done accurately and correctly for the build. That's how much detail we go into for a build when PIP does a custom build. And as you can see, yes, the frame though, and the front pieces does overlap just like on a road charger does. And at this moment, we're just doing mock-ups and test fitting to make sure everything's gonna line up properly and fit snugly like it should be. And yes, the wheel wells is all done in their own pieces and come together as one big piece in the end. And these leaf shackle mounts, just like a road charger has, same thing we did in the scale form. And the bumper is taped in place so we can get a good visual fit on all the parts going in the back of right here. But as you can see, the wheel wells is not in it yet right now. They are made, but they're not attached in it permanently because of the mock-up right now. Now as you can see right here, you can see the apron on one side is in place, but we're still working on the other side yet. Now here, this side right here is the side that still needs worked on. This is the passenger side upside down. Some people might think it's the driver's side, no, it's the passenger side. Sorry for any confusion there. Here you can see the wheel tire being actually modified yet and actually opened up and stretched. And again, you can see the bumper fitness, but that should be correctness of it and not a big gap. The yellow is actually the gap from the kit piece to the bumper at. That yellow piece is actually the space in between. That is actually a little bit of a gap, so imagine if you glue that rear valve panel in place, how it would look with the bumper having a gap between it. Again, doing measurements here, make sure this is going to be done correctly when it's done on the outrun. And the little brass piece you're seeing is actually the pegs that we put in there to actually hold the shell on the chassis when we actually do the mock-ups like this here. Now, I'll put this here, drill those holes like because we do have to fill them in, and when everything's done here. All this right here is all build-up process being taken. And that little white piece right there and the driver's piece right there below the G, that all will be removed once it's all done. It won't look nothing like this, it'll look more stock than anything. Again, the gas tank strap holders and the rear cross member. Here is the front frame rail being actually in for the first time in a long time. With the cross member actually right there, seeing your scene right there in the background. That cross member is actually a scratch built piece that we actually scratched built out of 3mm square stock of evergreen. Again, some nice little shots making sure the premium is going to be in the correct spots right here. And it was actually spray painted with a silver aluminum metallic spray paint. A better visuality on the details of what we have to do yet. And one of the kit rims actually hold in place as a mock-up to see how it's going to look when everything's done. We're still a little bit of a ways off from that yet. Again, the rear bumper taped in place, and now you see it has a taillight panel here. The yellow is actually the sign, but if you look at right where the plastic in it, right where the yellow begins at, now that is how much we actually correct on the taillight panel to actually move in there where it should be at. Now right here you can see the indent, and it looks like a real charged taillight panel now, not flush like it was before. Again, these little details is what sets the model off, the scale off from, other scales. I'm not saying other scales are bad or anything, but not by no means. But this here shows what the charger should look like when the factory made it in the kit form. Now the thing is, when doing these things, you always gotta think ahead a little bit. Now here's the motor. Now this is actually being made into a 440 motor from the kit. And again, some of the details gotta be altered and gotta be modified to make it look like what the engine should look like instead of a heavy motor, which is what the car did not really have. Here is the piece come up in the future, a water pump section. And a lot more detail is going to be added on this piece as well as we get into it. There are a lot of fun detail on this one. A lot of fun details coming up.